Hello, we're live. We had technical difficulties today, so we're trying to get that all straightened out. And it doesn't look like anybody's on yet.
There you go. See,
I got any internet. I got no internet going on. Yeah. Come on. There we are. You're still there. So let us know if you can hear us good or not. We're switching internet. We're having some technical difficulties here tonight. Computer screwed up and we had to switch to the other one, and you know how that all goes. So we'll try to get this going, and we sent a link to Adam Amsoil, and he should be coming on soon. So we do have a couple of you on there. Pating, we appreciate you guys coming out tonight, and we're waiting on Adam to come on. I sent him a link.
Yeah, I told him we just sent it.
So he should get that in a minute, and he should click on and find out what's going on. So there's Rat Finks on there bright and early. I guess it's late for you guys. It's 7 o'clock. So it's a little hard to get to that. And
John Burt.
Yeah, and David's there. All hearing good. It says Rat Fink says it sounds okay. Like I say, we're having some technical difficulties. Okay.
Our internet has gone on and off all day.
So Amsoil Adam's there. Have you clicked on the link yet that I sent you?
Should be in your email.
Yep. And then you may not be able to hear us. I won't be able to hear you talk until I bring you up. So let me know if you have any trouble with that link trying to get on.
So are you going? I think he's going down to Highway Hillian's going to Daytona too, aren't you? I think he wrote last night and said he was where he was going to be at.
And while we're waiting for Adam to come on, hopefully we won't have any technical difficulties getting on. I want to tell you something really special that just happened today. Michael, I can't pronounce his last name. That was on the Facebook.
Oh yeah, Gillette.
Gillette.
I think it's Gillette. That's how you say it.
If he's wrong, sorry.
Sorry.
He did a really good video today. He did a live from his house telling you a little bit about if you've never been to Sturgis, what you should do, things like that. It's really good, but it's on our Facebook group page. I tried to download it and I was going to put a video out of it, but it ends up being that I think since he posted it, I can't download it. So I don't know. I might try to put the camera on the computer and film it, but it might be really crappy and we may not do it. But I may get him. I talked to him about maybe coming on and doing a live himself with us, just like we're going to get Adam to do if all goes well with Adam.
Art's on.
Yep, Art's on there, and I think he said I think I got a text from him.
Oh, that's right.
Saying that he was going to come out next weekend.
So you're going to be out there where the bike burning is. That's right. I remember that now. I knew you'd said it. There's Paula. She's on.
Okay. So Art's going to be coming out here next weekend, not this weekend coming up because we'll be in Las Vegas. We've got some great stuff to tell you about that too. And so it'll be pretty exciting.
I told you, Paula, whatever I heard on that stupid AccuWeather, whatever, they said that whatever it was supposed to be 20 degrees warmer today. So how about that? She said it's 18 degrees.
There you go. It's not quite. Well, it is freezing.
Yeah.
We used to live like that too. We used to live in Illinois, live around Chicago. So we know about that nasty cold weather. And so that's one of the reasons we moved to the West Coast. And she's cold when it's like today. We're a little cool. We're probably in the high 50s, low 60s a day. It's supposed to get a little colder tomorrow. Going into Vegas, it's going to be like 37, 35 at night and only in the 60s during the day. We've got some really neat stuff to tell you about. Looks like there he is.
Oh, okay. I was just going to text him to see if he got it.
Let him get his camera all straight. So we can't hear you yet, Adam, until I bring you up. So we'll get him up in just a minute, and we'll get this started. So tonight we're going to be talking about batteries. So it'll be pretty neat, and this will be the first time we've actually brought somebody on our channel. And we may get other people like that. Maybe Rat Fink might get brave, and he might want to get on and tell us a little bit about some of the things he's going to show us in St. Augustine's as we get closer to that event. So
and I'll be using more.
So Adam, if you've got a TV on, you can't have that on. So you can only watch and hear us from whatever your source is. If it's your phone or if it's your iPad, you'll be able to use that. But if you have a TV on, it's going to echo. It's going to be a delayed. So hopefully you'll be live with us.
So any of you have any questions, start typing them up there, and then we'll bring Adam up, and then he'll be able to answer. There he is.
Look at that. Isn't that snazzy? I even got a snazzy background for us.
Woo-hoo.
I didn't get his name on there. I didn't even use his name in there. So say something, Adam.
Hey guys, how's it sounding?
There you go. He's on.
Can everybody hear Adam? Welcome, Adam, Ratfink says.
And
what's up, Rat?
So Adam has his own channel, which is Amsoil Adam. And what he does there is we talk to him. You guys probably have all seen him before on our channel. Unless you're new. If you're not new, if you are new, let's put it that way. If you're new, he actually has an Amsoil truck like this in Daytona. He's going to be down at the Speedway, so that'll be pretty neat. That's normally where his typical spot is, down there at the Speedway. And he'll be doing oil changes, and he's got his batteries. He's got them love jugs that they don't gig us tonight about saying love jugs. And he's got a couple good videos about that out there on his channel to show how they work. I didn't get around to doing it this year because of the water pump issue. I didn't get a chance to check out my 115 degrees driving in town with it on and off. But
when we get back in August, we'll be able to do that.
Maybe it'll be hot somewhere along this summer, and we can do it there because I found my multimeter. It was hidden. So here's what we're going to talk about. We'll let Adam kind of take the show at the moment, and we'll let him tell us a little bit. So mainly the things that people asked about last weekend when we were talking, I think it was a week ago Wednesday, that we were talking about batteries, and there actually was somebody's house, actually the garage, completely burnt down with their motorcycle. I think he had a Corvette or something in there. He had a couple older cars in the garage, and they all burned up. And the police chief, I keep saying police chief, fire chief said that they believe it started at the motorcycle. That's as close as they could get. He believes his tender was left on, and that's what he thinks burned it up. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. And after Adam tells you a little bit, we'll talk about the batteries, and you guys can ask questions. And if you got any questions for Adam when he's talking, you can let us know, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
So
does anybody have any specific questions, or should I just start with kind of explaining batteries and what they do? I mean, I know some of it seems common sense to a lot of people, but there are obviously
lithium versus acid batteries too. You can explain a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, there's multiple battery types. Even when you get into the lead acid, you've got like a standard lead acid, then you've got sealed lead acid, and then you've got AGMs, and you've got gels. And each one of those is kind of a step up from least to best. Now, in most of us here, we're riding Harleys. You're generally going to see 3 battery sizes in a Harley Davidson, and almost all of those battery sizes now, you're not going to find them in a standard lead acid battery. When I say standard lead acid battery, that means you're buying a battery that has no acid in it whatsoever. It's just got the lead plates that are in 6 different chambers. So there's 6 plates. Each one puts out approximately 2.1 volts. And when you add the acid to it, it then activates the plates. The chemistry that happens there is what produces the stored energy. A lot of us have been riding a long time will remember the regular lead acid batteries. You had to run a vent off of them because as they warm up and heat cycle, they'll actually off gas. And that off gas could be very corrosive if it was leaking down on your motorcycle or something like that. Sometimes you could even get the smell from it. Most modern motorcycles have gone completely away from that. So you're going to most likely see AGM batteries in almost all factory applications. Now, an AGM battery is still a lead acid technology. However, instead of it being the lead plates that's just flooded in the liquid acid, it's set up more like a fiberglass mat. And I know that not everybody's going to know what that means, but it's a bunch of strands of lead that's almost shredded and interwoven together. So when you actually put the acid in, it gets absorbed by that matting, which is why it's called absorbed glass mat, AGM. And the nice thing about that is they tend to produce a little bit more power on average and with the same size compared. But also with that absorption rate in there, you can no longer need to vent the battery, and it's not likely to spill. So they're considered maintenance-free batteries. And then when you get into the lithium, that's a completely different chemistry altogether. There's a whole lot of science to it, and I'm not going to pretend to know all of the science, but there's a different density there, because you've got the lithium, which is actually an element from the periodic table of elements. You've got the ions that work in there, and then with batteries, there's actually phosphorus in there as well. And what that equates to keep it really simple, without getting a 2-hour-long video on how lithium iron phosphate works, you can store a whole lot more power in a much smaller, lighter package. And that's why a lot of people are going to that in motorcycles, because motorcycles, more than cars, weight is definitely something that you want to keep down. In a motorcycle, the lighter you can make it, the faster it will go, the better it handles, so on and so forth. So that's basically the 3 different styles of batteries you're going to see typically in the industry.
I can do the 2 now. Okay, I put our mic back on. So there was one, Ken thought a tender was supposed to be left on all the time. Is that true?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. When we say tender, there's a company out there called Battery Tender. That's actually their name. It's the brand name. I forget the actual parent company. But really what it is called a float charger. And yes, they are designed to be left on indefinitely. I know that there's some people that say that's a good idea. Some people say it's not a good idea. I've done it many times with no repercussions. I know Bob and I were talking the other day, and he said he had an issue where he left it on all the time and it didn't seem to maintain the battery properly. But it could have even been a faulty charger. In most cases, the whole idea, especially with the lead acid or AGM batteries, you want to keep them at as a high point of charge as you possibly can. It doesn't take much to get them to a slightly low state of discharge. And then if you've got a motorcycle, especially with modifications, if you're running high compression and big cylinders, it takes more energy to get that motor started. So if you're down a few volts, it's going to make a big difference. So you might only be at a 90% capacity instead of 100. And if you've got that engine that it's struggling to start as it is, that makes a big difference. So that's why the float chargers were invented, so you can keep that 100% charge at all times. And the way they work
it
is
goes on and off by itself.
Yeah, they sense voltage. So in most cases, and I'm going to use the Battery Tender brand as an example, just because they're the most popular on the market, is they're only going to charge at a very low amp rate typically. And that's why most lead acid batteries, they want a slow charge rather than a fast charge. And for no lack of better term, it gives it a more thorough charge if you do it slowly, kind of like slow cooking ribs. It's better than if you fast cook them, right?
Right.
And I know that that's not a good analogy, but that's just the way it works with lead acid and AGM. So what it will do is that charger typically will put out a specific amp rate. Sometimes it's up to 2 amps, which isn't a lot, until it gets to like an 80% charge, and then it'll drop it down to like a 0.75 or even a 1 amp to finish off that last little bit. And then it goes to what's called float mode, where because it's always connected to the battery, it can always detect battery voltage. And if that voltage drops, the processor in there recognizes that, and it then initiates a float charge, which again is a smaller charge rate, but it's just there to keep it at that top, more optimal charge rate. And when it gets fully charged, it turns itself back into basically hibernation mode. And if that voltage drops again, the cycle repeats itself, so that you always have a fresh charge battery.
We got a couple questions. One is the guy that's up here right now, Loops and Hobbies, says he's got a Chemco scooter. He's got a lead acid battery, and he's running a trickle charger.
How good is that?
Yeah. Trickle for lead acid, trickle charging is the way to go. And that's completely different with lithium. The different technologies like different charge rates. But yeah, trickle charger is generally your best thing for a lead acid battery.
But that's as long as, now if he's leaving it on all the time, he has to make, that was one of the questions I was going to bring up, is if I've got a trickle charger on there, I want to make sure that it is going down to 0 when the battery gets charged. Same thing with that tender is, I know a normal battery fully charged should be about 12.8 volts. So what, if you put a voltmeter on it and your trickle charger, it should be fully charged. Should it still read 12.8? Or is there a point if it's like at 13, should I turn it off if the battery is fully charged?
No, 13.1 is still, safe even for like a float mode. But yeah, anything over 12.6 is considered full charge. So 12.8, 12.9, 13, those are all good states of charge, and it's going to vary depending on how long it's been since the charge cycle stopped. So say that battery tender just went into the float mode and it charged the battery up, and then it reaches its charge capacity. So the processor tells that charger to turn off. If you check the battery right then, you're going to be right up there at that 13.1, 13.2 probably. But you come back an hour later or 3 hours later, it might only be 12.9. As long as it maintains above that 12.6, it's considered fully charged.
So we have a question here. Emery wants to know, he's got a 2016 Street Glide Special. What kind of battery would you recommend for him on that?
So size-wise, all of the touring models that Harley-Davidson has made for the last 30 years or so are all going to take a 30 amp hour battery. So they come with an AGM. Like I said, you're not going to find a lead acid conventional style battery for that motorcycle anymore, unless it's just somebody that's got one on the shelf that's been there forever. And in that case, I probably wouldn't buy it either. So yeah, a 30 amp hour lead acid, there are different brands that are better. The Harley-Davidson brand itself, which Harley doesn't make batteries, but they're made in the same factory from what I understand, and stuff like this is very hard to verify because Harley doesn't like to let this information out. But I heard a long time ago that they are made in the same factory that produces the Yuasa batteries and the Interstate batteries. Both of those are made in the same factory. They're basically the same battery. They just have different names on them as they come down the different lines. Most of those are made in Taiwan, and they're actually a really good battery. What you want to stay away from is batteries that are made in China. It seems that they skimp on the lead. They use a lower quality lead, and that's why you just don't see the same lifespan out of those as you do the better batteries.
Ratfink was that's kind of things what I had happen to my bike, and I don't know if Art's still on here. He's kind of lets his bike charged up all the time too. We used to put tenders on our bikes and left them all the time. And it seemed like the first year when I had my 09, I put a new battery in it, and it only lasted right at 3 years, which I know 3 years is probably the normal for a battery. But the battery I have in there now, that's in my 2014, which I changed at 3 years, and I changed it again. Now we're heading into the 4th year, and it's a factory. I bought the battery from Harley, so it's one of their batteries, and I don't leave the tender on all the time. What I normally do is if I know I'm not going to ride the bike for a month, then I go out there and I plug it up. Now I have the Harley one is what I use. So it's got the lights on it, and when it turns green, I walk out there. If it's green, I unplug it. So I know, because it's good. I figure it's good for a month before the battery is going to go down. So that's the only thing that I base it on my judgment on, that I don't think it's great to leave a battery on. Now, when I used to live out in where it's cold, like in Illinois, we used to pull the batteries out and bring them in the house. And because they said a lot of it, well, because it is, a battery can freeze. So that's one of the things that we used to do all the time. And I didn't do anything. I trickle charged it. We set it on the floor. We always put cardboard down, because they always tell you that wives' tale, don't set a battery on concrete. I don't know if that's got anything to do with anything or not, but they told us
absolutely that. False.
I know, but we always did it. We put a piece of wood or a piece of cardboard. So I did that, and every year, and then the battery would usually be pretty good next year. If I left it in the bike over the winter, usually I end up having to buy a new battery.
So is that the case? Do you really need to unplug it like once a week and replug it back in, or?
It wouldn't hurt, and again, that may vary from brand to brand of a charger. And if you've got a bike that doesn't have a parasitic draw, which is few and far between nowadays. Back in the days when you shut the key off, everything shut off. But now motorcycles have got so many computers and sensors and stuff on them that, like, the computer is always awake. It's just waiting for that signal. And that's why, a lot of the motorcycles, when you walk up with your key fob, the bike knows you're coming before you turn it on, because the computer still has, granted, it's milliamps. It's not drawing a lot, but those milliamps over the course of a couple of weeks or a month or whatever can lower that state of charge. So if you know your bike is going to be good for 2 weeks or a month, there's no reason to leave it plugged in, but the manufacturers say that you can. So I guess it's really a preference.
So here's a question, which I can answer a little bit of this, because this happened to us on our ATVs that we bought the kids. Bought some of them fine Chinese ones because we didn't know if they would ride them or not. And put a battery in it, and it was overcharging. And I thought, we checked, I finally got it fixed, but it cooked a couple batteries. Well, it
Mhm.
actually took the batteries all the way down to 0, where they wouldn't come back to life.
You couldn't recharge.
Yeah,
it.
so the guy went to the battery place, battery store, and when this is the first time they gave me a new battery, second time they said, "Too bad, you did
So
something
sad.
wrong with it," and they didn't warranty it. So you can, if you know a little bit more than I do, I just
Yes, no. As far as his question goes, he all batteries, regardless of their chemistry, do not like being overcharged. You will destroy any battery by undercharging it or overcharging it. There's a window that they like to operate in, and anything higher than that causes excessive heat in the battery, which can actually cause, if it's like a standard style battery or what we call a conventional battery, you can actually start to boil that acid or the fluid out of it. Sometimes it can even melt the sides of the cases because the plates will get too hot. So there's a lot of bad things go there. So yes, proper regulation is key. And unfortunately, in lead acid and AGM or any type of SLA battery, there isn't any technology there to stop overcharging. So if your system on your motorcycle fails, your battery may fail subject to failure as well. And that's one of the advantages to lithium. I know I haven't really got into lithium a lot, but most quality lithium batteries, not all, but most quality lithium batteries have got what's called a BMS built into the top of them. And BMS stands for Battery Management System. So it detects things like that, and it will limit or shut off connection to the battery, whether the charging gets too high or too low. Because over discharging a lead acid battery can actually hinder its life. So if an average lead acid battery is supposed to stay at that 80 to 85% plus charge rate at all times. And that's why when you start your motorcycle, obviously it takes some draw to get the thing fired up, but your charging system is immediately starting to charge that back up to keep it within that window. If you sit somewhere for your radio on for half an hour or an hour, and now you're down to that 80% charge, it may not start your motorcycle, but even if it does, it's harder for that charging system to work to recharge it. So it does take a toll on the stator and the regulator rectifier. But they say that if you discharge a battery, a lead acid battery, one time down to a 50% level, you actually cut its overall lifespan by like another 10 or 15%. So you'll never get the full life out of it, even if you totally discharge it one time. And the worse you discharge it or the more times you discharge it, that will happen. So I know we've all seen people with dead batteries, I mean, that are totally dead, and then they jump start it and it recharges and everything seems fine, but they've actually taken life away from that battery overall. Where, in a motorcycle, you're saying almost 3 years, and that's kind of average for a motorcycle. I've seen up to 7 years in my personal experience. It's not common though. 3 to 5 is kind of fair, but I've seen people who just don't maintain their batteries or the bikes very well, and every single year they're putting a new battery in it. Especially people who live like in South Florida with really high heat indexes, because batteries don't like heat just like they don't like cold. So there's a lot of factors in there, but yeah, overcharging a battery will definitely destroy it regardless of what kind of chemistry it is.
So that kind of answered the question that's on the screen now about how long a factory battery should last.
But again, maintenance is key there.
Which I know it's all different and everybody's different. And also you got to watch, I don't know, a lot of the manufacturers put little stickers on the battery when they were actually made. And a lot of times you got to watch, just like you were saying before, you might go to some shop that doesn't sell a lot of batteries and they could be a year or two old and you've already lost some of your life. So a lot of people don't know that, but how to check that code on there. Usually it's a letter and a number, and that'll tell you the month, and then it'll tell you what year it was made in.
Yeah.
That way you kind of got an idea.
Well, yeah, because the lead acid battery can, on the shelf, can lose, let me see if I don't want to, I think it's up to 10% discharge rate just sitting on a shelf, not hooked up to anything per month. So if that battery sat on a shelf for 3 months, it might only be at 70%. If you go and you throw it in your motorcycle immediately without top charging it first, now you're already overworking that battery and putting it into a further state of discharge by trying to start your motorcycle with a battery that isn't fully charged. And that's why stuff like that, you should always top charge it first before you install it.
There's a
I know that wasn't the
here.
question, but it popped into my head.
Okay.
I don't know if we can answer this or not, but he wants to know how he could check how many volts he's being taken out of the battery when he starts his motorcycle.
Well, so you can just hook a meter to it and just watch it. So if you're at 13.1 before you hit the button, and then you hit the button, you see it drop down to 12.2 or 11.8, you can see what kind of voltage draw there is. It doesn't necessarily tell you a whole lot. I mean, starters, we really don't look at the voltage because it's amperage that's really the thing. There's how many amps is it drawing, which is the total amount of power. That's not actually the proper way to phrase it, but I mean, if you understand Watt's law and Ohm's law, watts times amps equals, volts times watts. Man, I got to stop and think for a second. Amps times volts equals watts. It gets confusing.
Which I understand that's which is what we've always done is we would check the amperage. What would, if you had a Harley, a full, let's say a touring bike, do you know what the amperage would be that a starter would pull?
I don't know exactly what the starter itself will pull. It could be anywhere from 50 to 70 amps is what I would guess. And again, there's different starter manufacturers out there, and they're going to have different ratings, whether they're gear reduction or like a direct drive type thing. I know even in cars, sometimes you see starters will draw up to 200, 250 amps, and some that'll do like 140 or so. So it's going to vary a little bit. Even the starters they put in a Sportster aren't going to draw anywhere near as much as a starter that's going to be in, like, say, your 110 on a touring bike.
Question there, which is, I guess he's kind of got the same question that probably a lot of people think about, is going back to the, going to the dealer and getting your battery is going to be a lot easier to get it warranted as you're traveling across the world, country. Like the batteries you sell, do they have like a website that will tell you, is it,
where can they go to replace the battery you've sold them?
So they're really good with their warranty. In fact, the Banshee battery that I sell, the lead acids come with a 4-year warranty, which very few battery companies have a warranty that long in a motorcycle. Even Interstate and Yuasa, they're 6 months or 1 year. So this is 4 times the warranty, and they are huge customer service with standing behind that. The downside is you'd have to find someone who was a dealer for their battery, or you'd have to call them and they can send you one out or whatnot. So far, it's been very rare that it's ever happened. In fact, I've been selling their batteries for almost 2 years now. And with the lead acid line, I have not had to warranty a single battery yet.
That's good. So here he's just kind of talking about what happened to him, Tim, here, where he ended up, I guess his battery got low and somebody helped push him, and then ended up being the rectifier was what was damaged that ruined his battery. Yeah, and that happens a lot. We see it too. Somebody's bike doesn't start, the battery's dead. They just think, oh, I'll put a new battery in it. 90% of the time, something caused that battery to die. So the charging system on the motorcycle, consists of a stator and a magnet and a regulator rectifier. So when you have a situation like that, it's always a good idea to do a thorough charging system check. However, you do need a fully charged battery in the motorcycle to get accurate results on that test. A low voltage battery in anything, car, motorcycle, will lead to erroneous readings on your testing. So your meters will give you like strange answers that don't even make any sense sometimes. Because that voltage isn't right, it doesn't know how to react properly. So always put a fresh battery in it, but then double check your charging system. Otherwise, you're going to get 20 miles on the road and that battery's going to die as well. And then Tim used to work at a battery factory, it looks like, Die Hard. And when I used to have my garages, we used to sell the Interstate batteries. And we actually know a girl, which she doesn't work for them anymore. She used to be the girl that wore the Interstate green outfit, I guess is what she did, or something. I don't know.
Well, no, she was a salesperson too.
But she did that too.
She sold.
So he probably knows more about batteries than I do.
Yeah. So he's got a question here, and here's what I've done, and we used to do when I had my garage. We used to put exhaust on back when in this 80s, where people were still changing their exhaust pretty much every couple of years.
Because it
rusted out. Now they put stainless pretty much on everything, so you don't really have that problem. But question was, he says he's seen on the internet where people say you should disconnect the if you're going to do welding in the car, you should disconnect the battery. Now, I never did that. I never had any trouble with anything we ever welded on. We always thought about it, especially with more and more of the computer cars coming out. Anytime that there's if you're sending a charge through the bike or the car, or whatever you're welding on, you are sending electricity through it. So, but I think if the car is grounded properly, the battery's grounded properly, I don't think there's a problem. What do you think?
In most cases, there's not. I mean, and as a general rule, you're not going to hurt anything by disconnecting the battery. So if you feel safer doing that, then do it. But with a welder, basically it's electricity, and electricity is always going to take the path of least resistance. So whenever you're welding on a car, you've also got your ground clamp from the welder attached to the chassis or the frame or someplace near your welding spot. So all that current is going to go right back to the welder in the least or in the path of least resistance. So it should never reach your ECM or computer or anything like that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's pretty rare. I'll be honest, I almost never disconnect the battery when I'm welding on something. I've never had any issues with it either, but I've heard that it is a possibility.
It could happen. That's what I said. Wouldn't be bad. It would be really bad if you smoked somebody's computer and you had to replace it because you were welding on it. So
yeah, because computers run on smoke. You got to keep the smoke inside them for them to work properly. As soon as you let the smoke out, they don't work anymore.
So we're going to go through a bunch of the questions now because we're getting a pretty long thing here of questions. And let's see what we got. Exide actually bought Interstate Battery. Okay. Didn't know that. Let me go back up here. Skipped one. Dealership told me to keep it charged because of the alarm system. So after my bike, I always put a trickle charger on my 2021 Road King. Am I wrong by doing that?
So after every bike.
And I would say no, you're not wrong, because like I said, parasitic draw. There are items on that motorcycle that are constantly using power, even when you're not using it. It's if you're going to ride the bike once a week, you probably don't need to do that because it's not going to kill it within a week. But if you're going to store it for a month or two, yeah, it's probably a good idea to throw it on the tender just to keep that state of charge where it needs to be.
So there's another question here.
That pretty much answers Kevin's
question.
Kevin's
same thing. He says he always leaves his tender on. And like I say, if you read the package that you get your tender in, I bought the Harley ones, and it actually says that you can leave it in there. But the only reason that we kind of talked about the tenders is this guy, it was on Facebook. I don't know if I could find the guy or not, where he was at. I think he was on a Sturgis post, and a bunch of people commented. He sent pictures of his garage being all burned up, and that's what kind of started talking about this. Anything could go bad. It could also have been his battery could have been leaking a little bit of acid, gases coming out of it. There could have been a spark from when it cycled on and off. It may not have had a good connection. That could have made a spark and ignited it. There could have been gas around someplace. Maybe there was a fuel leak and the tender wasn't on real good and got a little bit of a spark, and that ignited it. Nobody really, the police chief, the investigator of it, could not say why it caught on fire. He just said it was around the bike. So the owner of that bike, which he had a really nice bike, and he said that he suspected it was the tender that caused the problem. And then that was his question on Facebook. What do you recommend if it should be? So that's kind of why we brought that up today. Typically, it shouldn't cause a problem if it's working properly. But
it's still an electronic item, though, and they can fail at any time.
Yeah. So that one.
Okay, so that kind of got that. And 3-4 years. So that's what he was saying, 3 or 4 years for a battery. That's pretty normal. Kevin, do I have the same with my battery?
He does the same with his battery.
Okay. So. And a power probe. I don't know what Radfink's talking about, a power probe.
Yeah, power probe, he's referring to what I think he's referring to as a tool, and I use the hell out of mine, to be honest. It's a great tool for doing diagnostics and so on and so forth.
Oh, maybe he was talking about charging the amp or seeing the amperage and the wattage or whatever. Maybe that's what he was saying he uses.
So I was talking about amp draw. So a power probe, would that show you amp draw?
No, a power probe won't show you amp draw, but it can show you the voltage drop, and it's great for diagnosing when you've got circuits that don't work, because you can actually use the power probe to supply power or ground or isolate a load device for testing purposes. The best way to check a load, especially a parasitic load, when you think something is being drawn when the motorcycle is not running, is to just use a good digital multimeter. They've got an amp function on there, and you'll actually disconnect your negative battery terminal, and then you'll hook the meter up in between the battery and that negative battery cable, and then you can see with everything off what kind of amps are running through there. But you never want to try to start your motorcycle with it set that way, because it'll burn up the meter because it can't handle that kind of current. But it's for finding small parasitic draws. So
here's Billy. He's gone 5 years now on his equipment battery.
Proper maintenance. You can get good life out of them.
So it can happen. There's Robert that's on here. Aguilera. And he's got a Banshee. Well, there's Radfink. He actually bought a battery from you.
Yeah.
I guess he bought
the lithium as well.
I was going to say, was it a lithium or okay? So he bought the lithium.
I'm pretty sure he bought the lithium.
Did she make both?
Yeah, Banshee makes both. Yep.
Okay. And there's Trixie. She was on last night.
Hope your son is doing well in his business. How's your son doing, Adam?
We'll talk about that later.
right. That's a whole nother story, huh?
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't, well, it's probably because nobody's hearing you say much about him lately. So there's Paula. She's our expert on Sturgis.
Yeah.
She's actually got 2 Banshee batteries in her bike, or in her bikes.
Hers and his, I guess.
Yep. And all right, did we just jump around again? I think
Probably.
we just jumped. I gotta go. Here we are.
Emery
It's going nuts. Off topic, but Adam will know this question from a video he just posted. I don't know. Didn't answer the question.
Unless we missed it. I don't know.
Is AAA any more capable to carefully jump a motorcycle?
When you're stuck
I
with
don't know
a
whether
battery.
they're willing to or not, but understand this. I've heard these rumors where people go, "Oh, you can't jump a motorcycle off from a car because it'll burn it up." That's absolutely not true. A motorcycle works on a 12-volt system exactly like a car does. As long as you don't arc your cables or touch something you're not supposed to touch, there is zero harm with hooking up a car to a motorcycle to jumpstart it.
Okay. I guess I'm not supposed to go too far. He's going to show you something. I don't know.
Okay.
So we see in the lover back flip off.
No. I don't heal very well, so I don't try doing stuff like that anymore.
I don't either, so I get it. Not welding, but using an arc welder to power charge a battery for 5 minutes. Not in a welding in a car.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this method. I've never heard of it before, so I really can't speak to what's going on there.
So,
Nation.
Mike, this Bating. He had a great video on today. We talked about at the beginning of the show that his take on Sturgis and his first time there and everything he's done. So, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool.
So here's what we did. If you been watching the channel last summer, the diesel wouldn't start. One of the batteries went dead. When the tow truck driver came up to jump us, here's what he had.
Mm-hmm.
Big old tow truck. You could have probably put the truck on the back of his tow truck on the flatbed, and he pulls that out and jumps it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we went and bought one.
You get them at Walmart.
Yeah.
And under $100.
Yeah.
And that would probably be a lot safe. My dad, when we used to have our gas station, my dad had a battery blow up on him from jumping it. And same thing, gases were there when he made the spark. And, and there's different ways. The proper way to jump a vehicle is to always ground the grounding cable to the body someplace, something metal.
Yeah, usually to the engine.
And
Well,
do the
it's not
ground.
metal anymore, is it? It's all
Well, you find
fiberglass.
something metal. You find something metal, you hook it to that, and then you put the positive on. Ground always goes on first, and you do the opposite when you take it off. You take the positive off first, and then the ground off last. And that's always the safer way to do it. If it doesn't want to start that way, then you may have something serious. You've got dirty cables or who knows what's on. But I have heard that my daughter jumped somebody a while back that had and right after that, a day later, their computer check light came on, and they got
battery went dead, and
so,
he started. The other car wouldn't start, so they tried to jump it like several times.
And so I don't know, and that's what I always do. Like I say, we used to have a starting unit when we had the gas station, and we jump cars and stuff with it. But I pretty much do it. If somebody's car doesn't start within a few minutes, then it's probably not going to start on a jump. It could be a bad starter. It could be a lot of things. So let's get back in our list.
Okay.
So I wanted to show you that. If you guys, I know it's tough on a motorcycle. Art's got one, which he already went off, but I don't know if he ever jumped it. But he got one of those really small jumpers that you could plug a phone into it. You do all this stuff, but it also had enough that you could jump a motorcycle with it. And he bought it at a bike show.
Wasn't it to blow up tires too? You could do all
No,
that?
I don't think his did. It was just a little bitty way. It wasn't much bigger than a phone. And
and those basically use the lithium technology, and they put out a lot of power. And most times they work very well.
All right, you didn't get that guy's question. You just went through it.
He was asking about NOCO lithium batteries, and I don't know what the NOCO means. Is that a brand name?
I would think so.
That's what I think.
If it is, I'm not familiar
with it. Is that a brand name,
them.
the NOCO? Or does it stand for something maybe? I don't know.
There's a lot, there's lots of manufacturers out here selling stuff. And you got to do what Adam said is you need to search the company out and make sure the batteries aren't coming from China. A lot of parts come from China and they build them over here. So, I don't think we even have any lead mines anymore in the United States. And which I know lithium batteries are all made from strip mines, and none of them are in the United States. Most of them are all in third world countries and things like that. But yeah, NOCO is a battery company. Well,
NOCO.
NOCO. It comes up.
I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah. So I don't know. He can ask if a little bit more.
So there's Tim. He's worked at the battery company.
Okay, so he said all my friends that worked at the battery build always drop 3 to 6 inch batteries flat on a rubber pad before charging them.
What does that do for him?
Well, unless he's just saying that he doesn't. He was like when we were talking a while ago, the old tales that they always told us never put a battery on the ground. I always had a piece of wood that we charge batteries on and
Well,
stuff
it sounds
like
like
that.
he almost like takes it 3 feet off the ground and drops it on a rubber pad.
Always drop 3 to 6 inches, 3 to 6
Oh,
inches
inches.
battery flat on a rubber pad. I don't know why you would do that. We used to put acid. Used to be you put acid in the battery. That's what started the battery up.
Oh, you
So
have to put water
you would
in and
have
stuff,
no,
or
it was
is
acid.
Oh.
So you had a battery that came dry, and then before the customer bought it, you could put the acid in it, and it brought the battery up to like 85 or 90%, and you really didn't have to charge it. So
It's like a turkey
but
baster,
then
I remember.
we used to have a little thing you pull it out. When I used to work at Ford, we had that at the dealership. We did that. When I got into it, they weren't doing that anymore. They pretty much. So keep your eye on the rear turn for LED 2 I had smoked. I don't know. So that's one of the things I'd want to
Rear
ask.
turn.
Rear turn for LED 2 I had smoked. I'm not sure quite what you're saying.
He must have smoked a battery.
It sounds like
A lead battery, I guess.
And so yeah, but it's easy because a lot of times the chargers, like my old charger I've got out there, I had since the gas station from the early 80s, and it's got the timer on it. It doesn't have
Doesn't stop on its
I have a trickle chargers. They don't really charge as good as I like them to. I'm always using my big charger to charge up my car, my boat, and all that kind of stuff. Appreciate Adam's coverage from Sturgis. He burns a candle at both ends.
Yes, he does. Gets up early in the morning.
When the season is right. Yes, we do.
Night.
So Robert wants to know how the puppy's doing. We talked about that a little bit today. Let me see.
Yeah, she's
do
actually
a quick thing
doing
on it.
pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, she's actually doing pretty good. When what I was talking about earlier, when we took her to the vet back in September, they made it sound like she was going to make it through the weekend of the week, and they were really trying to kind of push us towards putting her down. And luckily at the time I just couldn't do it. She's actually very happy, and she's still very mobile. Obviously she's old and she's got arthritis and hip dysplasia, and she's got that giant tumor inside her. So she's not as active as she used to be, but she's a happy dog, and just, her appetite's still good. Everything seems to be going pretty well considering, Yeah. I mean, I don't move around as good as I did when I was young either. So
Are we going to go put you down?
no, not yet.
So Mike says, is the Harley spot charger worth the price? It says it can do up to 20 jumps with a charge.
I was just
It might be. I've never actually used it, but
Okay.
Is it kind of like a battery jump like I've got?
That thing you just showed?
Because I'm not showing nothing there. I don't know.
We're looking up.
So don't know much about it. So a Fluke digital meter, which is what I got, or even a good old school Simpson voltmeter, valuable tool maintenance and used correctly, and have it calibrated at least every few years. A Fluke meter really don't have to be calibrated very often. Where I used to work, we never calibrated except for doing recalibrated ovens. And you could check to make sure, put it in ice water, and you had to check a temperature to make sure it needed to be. But you always had, with a Fluke meter, I'm not sure about the Simpson, but I know on the Fluke meter, you have to send it off if you want to get it recalibrated or something like that. But I've always had really good luck with Fluke meters. That's what I like.
yeah, Fluke is a really good brand.
So I looked up at this a while ago. The NOCO is actually a jump pack, which I just got off the internet and looked at that. I don't know anything about that brand. I see it sold on Amazon. I also see they sell chargers and stuff too, trickle chargers and stuff. So at that point, I don't know anything about.
So is that something you use, John? And what do you think about it? Since we don't
Or is
know
he thinking
about
about buying one?
Yeah.
If I don't know something about something, I start searching it out. Don't always believe what Amazon tells you. They sometimes pay people to give good comments.
Reviews.
So I usually go back and look for Yelp or Google or something like that. And also Amazon's bad because sometimes they'll put other products that manufacturer sells in that good comments. So when you click on what they bought, it's like, that's not even what I'm asking for. Or it's a better model or a worse model. So
Yeah,
that's just in that. Deba says he sees a lot of the love jugs. It's D.
Yeah.
Deba says he sees a lot of love jugs out there, which we see pretty many too.
Yep.
yeah, they're definitely getting more and more popular.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially with the bikes now, they just run so lean and they're, they run so hot. And, I've got the cooling heads and stuff, and, it does a little bit, but not much. But 10 degrees in Michigan.
Burr.
So how cold is it there where you're at, Adam?
What's the temperature?
Today was like 48 or 49 was the high. I'm not sure what it is right now. Let me check my weather app real quick. I know when the sun drops, it definitely chills.
Dawn's there.
Yep, Dawn's in the house. So
he loves the tech videos.
Yep. Would like to see one for satellite GPS options for motorcycles.
It says it's 31 here now.
Yeah. Okay.
You
want to talk about that? I
don't know.
If you've got a Ford, I don't know if they do it on all of them now, but the Ford, the truck that we have, we don't have to get a navigational system. It uses our phone. We plug our phone up.
Well, I see somebody the other day asked us about there's a new headset, which I don't remember what it's called. I don't know. It's not sold by Harley. It's sold by another company. It's about $1,500. And I think it's pretty much set up like my Ford truck is. It goes off of your phone. So what it does is it Bluetooths your phone, and you can use your maps and off your phone, and you can use all that stuff. So you're not updating anything like you're in a motorcycle. I really like it for my truck because my daughter, for instance, she's got what kind of car she got? Lexus. And they wanted what, $4,000?
To upgrade the navigation system, and it was still under warranty.
And so that's the problem with any kind of navigation. Just like Harley, I always say that my bike's a 2014. I said, can I get the maps updated? And they're like, you do that yourself. Well, whatever, dude. But yeah. So Pating from Texas, James is in Texas. No, I was big on Amazon. No, I'm not big. Yeah. I'm assuming he's saying no, I'm not big on Amazon. Yeah. I just happened to, when I searched out that, it brought up the Amazon site. We look at both. I buy from Amazon and I also buy from eBay. And you always make sure things are
drink refresh intermission.
Let's see what else we got. Is big on Amazon. So that's what it came up at. I don't recommend smoking batteries. However, I don't. All right, we'll move on.
Facebook user.
All right, as long as she has an appetite and comfy, keep her in the can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, her appetite is strong. She eats like a horse.
That's good, because wasn't in Myrtle Beach, was she not eating? Wasn't Katie having to feed her some food?
Yeah, we were really worried about her then.
Yeah.
And so there is talking about the chargers a little bit bigger than a cell phone, which that's kind of what the thing that Art had, which I don't know if he'll come back on. He bought something at one of the trade shows, and he buys a lot of junk. And they show him, and it's like, oh, I'll buy that. And I think last time I seen him, I asked him if he ever used that stupid thing. And he said, yeah, I actually jumped my bike with it once. So, something like that in your bike isn't a bad thing. Can you use a battery tender to charge a lithium battery?
And that's a really good question, Highway Hellion. Like I said before, that AGM batteries and lead acid batteries, they charge at a different rate than a lithium does. So you do not want to use a lead acid battery charger on a lithium. Now, there are some lithium battery chargers that will also work on lead acid, but not vice versa. Lithium batteries like a really high charge rate at first, and then they can go to a float mode. But that's one of the advantages to a lithium battery, is they have a much higher recharge rate, so they'll recharge faster. So where a lead acid AGM style battery, the proper way to charge it by the textbook, and I know we don't always do this, is you charge it at 1/10 the amp hour rate. So Bob, your bike has a 30 amp hour battery in it, which means you should charge it at 3 amps for 10 hours. That would be a full deep charge, and the proper way to do it. Where a lithium battery of the same size can fully recharge itself in like an hour and a half, because I don't know the exact amp rate on a 30 amp hour, but it will probably take 15 or 20 amps of charge safely. That's what it actually prefers. If you slow charge them, you actually do more damage to the cells than if you fast charge them.
So how would you know, like, let's say I went to Harley and I bought a lithium battery from them, which I know they're not telling anybody they have to get a different charger.
In most cases, they do.
And so I've never noticed anything that actually, now I'm not looking to buy a battery charger lately, but I haven't seen anything that actually said one was acid and one was for lithium batteries. So is that starting to be something common that they're saying that?
Yes. And in fact, at the shows, we carry 2 different battery chargers, one for the lead acid, one for the lithiums.
So if it doesn't say, you probably shouldn't buy it. So that's the first thing. If anybody's got a lithium battery, they shouldn't be using a regular tender on it then.
No, it'll charge fine on your motorcycle, but on a wall charger, you got to have a higher amp rate.
When you're in Daytona, go down to Delane and stop by the battery tender and talk with them. We can do that.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, they're there by the DeLand Airport.
Yeah.
In the airport?
They're just out front of the DeLand Airport.
Okay.
Is it a store?
No. Well, it's actually one of their manufacturing facilities and corporate offices. They've been there a long, long time. Remember, I grew up in the area, so.
All right, cool.
So here's somebody. John actually uses the NOCO, so he had to use
He's
it
the one
on
that
his
was
bike.
asking what we thought about it. So he does have one and uses it. So he likes it.
Okay. And Paul's probably saying hi to you. And why not love about jugs? And can I purchase a battery from Adam outside of catching him at a rally?
Yes, you can always go to my website, and the batteries are on the website as well.
And
so that is Saddle Tramp.
my 2017 OEM Harley Davidson battery is still going strong. I use a battery tender by Deltran to keep it charged. That's good.
Those jugs.
Let's get up here. We got a bunch of love. Everybody's about love jugs today. Actually makes the Harley Davidson brand jump pack. Okay, so that's interesting. That tells you a little bit about for the asking about that product.
Harley gets
them, sometimes you can't always bet that somebody buys something. I used to work for a big corporation, and sometimes it comes down to whoever gives them the best price. Doesn't necessarily always mean it's the best product.
Yeah, whoever gives them the best profit margin.
Yes. Was 71 earlier, now 62. Oh, it's telling us temperature in California.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. It's warmer than here. So is there a better battery to run in my Rogue King special than what comes from the factory? Well, that would definitely be if you wanted to go, which is something I might think about my next battery, is you want to go lithium probably. If you want to get the best, what I was looking at putting lithium batteries in my trailer. And the reason what sells you on a lithium battery is you can run it down to almost 0 and it will charge back up to 100%. Some people say within maybe 98 or 95. That's still better. Now, if you take an acid base or an AGM battery and you run it down to 20 or 30% left, it's not going to charge up to maybe 75 or 80%.
Yeah, and that's correct. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. A lead acid battery, if you discharge it, you actually do damage to the battery that it will never recover from. Where a lithium, so on the lead acid, you want to keep it between that 80% and 100% discharge rate. Anything below 80% or 85%, depending on the manufacturer, you can actually do damage. Where lithium, you can take down to about 20%. And again, like I said, most lithium batteries have those BMSs in there, and they will register that 20%, and they will shut the battery off so that you can't over discharge it. So there's a lot more smart technology in with the lithium as well.
So do lithiums last longer than the lead acid?
Yes, the theory is they produce a lot more power, and you get at least double the expected life out of it. You were mentioning your trailer. I've actually done a lot of research on like lithium deep cycle type batteries for RV solar systems and stuff like that. And they're saying that a properly maintained 100 amp hour lithium battery, you should get almost 20 years of use out of it. That's properly maintained, where a lead acid battery, 6 to 8 years in that same type of application.
So lithium battery's been around 20 years?
No.
Then
There's nobody knows.
No, not yet.
That's a prediction.
How do they know?
They originally said 10 years. That was their first bet. But now the batteries have been out. We're probably getting close to 10 years now since the first lithiums came out.
Yeah. But the technology is constantly changing.
Yeah. So now the technology is better. But I know there's different grades in them. And like I say, you want to find somebody, like, for instance, I was looking at a trailer and it was Battleborn. They automatically gave you a 10-year warranty on the batteries. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the other companies are starting to do that now, to where, because it does. A lithium battery is quite a bit more expensive than a normal battery.
It is. And some of the DIY solar channels that I've been watching, and the main reason I've been watching them is because I want to upgrade the solar system to Sun Goliath anyway. So me not knowing a lot about solar systems, I'm just doing my due diligence and trying to figure out what I think is the best way to do it. And like the Battleborn is a great brand of battery, but they are pricey. They're over $1,000 for one battery. So they're not the most cost effective, but they are a good quality battery. If you only needed one battery, that might be the way to go. But, in Goliath, we're looking at putting the equivalent to 8 batteries in there. And no, I'm not going to go spend $8,000 on batteries. So I've been looking at like how to build batteries. And that's the only reason I know so much about the lithium iron phosphate technology is mostly for that application. But that all carries over into the motorcycles, with the exception that a motorcycle battery is a starting battery, not a deep cycle battery. So there's a little bit of difference there, but the concept is still the same.
So we're not going to get too deep into this question. We could do this another day because we got more battery questions. Somebody just wanted a quick of your opinion on extended mileage oil versus just regular oil.
Are you talking about brands or just like how some brands label oil extended
mileage? Well, I'm
mileage?
thinking what he's asking is versus me going out and just putting the basic Harley oil in my motor versus putting Amsoil oil in my oil, or in my bike.
Okay, so if you're looking at extended drain intervals, which might be what he's actually asking, using extended drain intervals with a product that is designed for it is actually beneficial. It's going to save you a bunch of money. And keep in mind, Amsoil, for example, because obviously that's what I always recommend, Amsoil with 10,000 miles on it is still better for your motorcycle than the standard Harley oil with only 1,000 miles on it. Even almost worn to its max, Amsoil is still a higher quality than Harley is, plain and simple.
Because a lot of places will tell you that. Like I said, I used to work in a garage, owned a garage, and so many people say it's manufacturer specifications. Well, pretty much everything is manufacturer specifications, but that's kind of like down here. And then, so if you've got a good product, you want it to be up here to be better than manufacturer. So when you see something that says, "Oh, we meet manufacturer specifications," that's not really getting very far and getting you
setting the standard very high.
That means it's just good enough. Amsoil makes products that are the best in the industry.
I'm not sure what that
Back
means
there
either.
still good for electrical. Also, Field Piece makes a great meter. I've never used a Field Piece, so I don't know any
meter.
Probably. There's a lot of brands out here. I mean, there's
the
a lot
meter
of
I use is actually very similar to a Fluke, but it's made by Blue Point, which is like Snap-on's lower line brand. And I bought it when I was going to Motorcycle Mechanics Institute back in 1997. And I've had it ever since, and it's been great. I can't argue with it.
So he's saying he uses 2 cans with a string to communicate. They sell it.
Okay, we'll go skip along here a little bit. Snow flurries.
Tonight, that's down in Myrtle Beach, Burr.
Yeah, it's been getting cold down there in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, you better warm that
battery
temperature
tenders
up
for
a little
sale
bit.
at the Harley dealership have 3 or 4 modes button depending on what type of battery. Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So he's saying the Harleys have that now. So if I had no idea. I probably would have bought. I don't know. See, a lot of times like this, that's when you go to a dealer, that's what's sad. It's about any place you go because there's so many people that work someplace that don't have the know-how, or they just assume everybody knows, to where they make that sale for you and you walk away. They don't think about telling you, hey, you need to get a different battery charger. You need to do this. You need to do that. A lot of places, we call that upselling. If they were at the Harley dealer, they should be actually, if you're buying a lithium battery and you're taking it out, they should have that charger or the tank, whatever it's called again, tender laying on the counter and say, hey, if you don't have the new style, you need to pick one up. If you don't get it from us, you need to get it from somebody else. So not everybody does that. And that's one of the things that we always tell you guys. If you go someplace that somebody that we recommend, the dealers that we've been to, things like that, and people tell you, they don't tell you something that you should know, contact us, because sometimes when we call the dealers and say something, they're like, oh, we need to have a talk with that guy, because not everybody will take the initiative and say what they need to say. So
Don says.
Yeah. So Don's got Halo is a small type of power supply, works good on jumping a car and all that other stuff, about $150. So I've heard that brand before. I watched your covered area do oil change at the big shows. How many gallons in a big plastic tank and how many bike changes in a tank? So I guess he's talking about a 55-gallon barrel, I'm assuming.
Well, when he says the big plastic tank, I'm assuming he means the tote that we use like when we were in Sturgis. And that is a 275-gallon container. And at that show, we used all of it. Now, I say all of it. We still had about 55 gallons left in the bottom of that when we left Sturgis, but I started with the 55-gallon drum before I even went to that. So, yeah, we went through over 275 gallons of oil
So how many
Just
oil
for
changes
50.
was
I'm
that?
not counting the primary and the transmission, plus all the retail sales, all the quarts we sold. But just in service, probably at least 275 to 300 gallons of oil.
So how many oil changes is that?
We did over 300. I don't remember the exact number, but it was over 300. I know that.
Wow.
Yeah, because it also depends if they're changing all 3 oils, if they're only changing the one.
Yeah.
So that one person wants to know, is a lithium battery worth an upgrade cost?
If you're getting a good quality lithium battery, I say absolutely. You're going to get longer life, better performance, and the lighter weight.
Have you had a chance to check
Janice?
out Janice's motorcycles? No, I haven't. You ever see Janice's motor?
I'm not familiar with them.
I don't know who that is. What's bad about YouTube is there's a million videos came out today on YouTube.
I think was it every hour there's a million uploaded?
Could be. I don't remember what the number was.
Crazy
but it's crazy to where when we're doing this, just like Adam is, when you're got a lot of things going on, it's really tough to sit down and watch everybody's videos and see what's going on. And I have the ones that get recommended by me, and I click on those and I watch just a few seconds of most people's videos because I don't really have time to sit down and watch all these videos because I'm constantly making videos.
Yeah.
So
or answering comments.
Yeah. So yeah, because I do. Somebody else the other day was saying, "Oh, somebody was on there last night and said I've never answered why I don't answer," and I don't know what he's on. But now Facebook's a different story. I don't answer questions on. If you ask a question on Facebook, I would answer it. But most people are like, if you're on this video on Facebook now, we already seen your comment. So I'm not. All I do is go back in and I hit like. But if you send us an email, if you put a comment down on the regular feed, I always answer it. I either just tell you, if you don't say anything, I always say thanks, or I say thanks for watching. And if you ask a question, I try to get back with you or tell you, but it is tough because sometimes when videos get really tough and somebody asked me a question yesterday and we're at the rally, the odds are I'm probably going to forget because I can't even remember people's names. So, friends dropped used batteries on a rubber pad 2 to 3 times, trying to break away any scaling buildup in the cells before charging.
Yeah, and what he's talking about there is actually called desulfating. And back in the days, that's how people did it. Now they've actually got charging systems that are smart enough to do that for them. So they'll go through a desulfation process. And what it does is it almost sends like pulses of charge into the battery that actually kind of shake and vibrate them. And that ultrasonic portion of that kind of gets that sulfation to break loose from the things. And that'll work a couple of times. But eventually what happens is that loose product that's now in there, it eventually settles at the bottom, and over time it builds up, and then when it connects the plates, then you've got a dead short inside the battery, and the battery's completely done at that point.
So if you guys like watching us have a guest on, and make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, and lets us know that you appreciate that, and you appreciate Adam being on our channel. And
don't forget to subscribe and check out Adam's channel also. He's got a YouTube channel too.
So Adam's going to tell you it's Amsoil. So he wants to know the best synthetic oil to run in my M8 is.
Yeah, the Amsoil MCV 20W50 for the engine. Yeah,
and so it's you've got to try it. And I've done other things. I've ran Mobile One, and I've ran Amsoil off and on. What ends up happening with is it's hard sometimes when you're buying a particular brand of oils. It's like Mobile One. You used to be able to get it at Walmart, and they don't really handle the motorcycle oil anymore. And sometimes it runs into the problem of finding somebody that's got the oil. Now, see what we do. Now, we don't ride a whole lot. And I know some of you do, to where we pretty much can get an oil change at one of the rallies that we're at. So I have to look at the miles and see where we're at. But I mean, somewhere along this year, it'll get the oil changed again. And so we'll have Adam change the oil in the filter. And usually I just do all 3 oils at one time just because I don't ride the bike as much. So usually once a year is pretty much where I change the oil. I don't really go. I know you can go 10,000 miles. I don't know. I'd go 5. I don't know if I'd go 10. I know everything's fine, but it's just one of my things that I have for me.
That's what he says.
So Adam's
idles his bike all day long, day after day, to every show. That's proof in the pudding.
Yeah. So how many miles do you? First, how many miles are actually on your motorcycle? Not counting the idle.
Right now, it's I think just shy of 24,000.
Okay. So figuring how many hours do you think it's ran?
The last time we did the math on it, which was kind of like the middle of last year, we were estimating it just over 6,000 hours of idle time.
And how many miles would that convert to?
So if you do the math on that, at 60 mile an hour, it would take you about 1,500 hours to go 90,000 miles. So yeah, it's well over 350,000 miles worth of idle time, plus the actual mileage that's on it, which I know it's not a lot of mileage for how old of a bike it is, but I don't get to ride it as often as I like. But
we all have that same problem.
Yeah. Believe me, if I could tow that stacker trailer with it, I would try.
So Ratfink even puts the Amsoil in a 67 Chevy with this 396 big block in it.
Yeah. Hopefully he's using the Z-Rod formula. It's the best stuff out there.
Right. So Ken is giving us a super chat at $10. We appreciate Ken. He always helps us out and helps with all that expenses because he's a great guy. We always say pating to him.
Yeah. He says he needs to do a budget for his super chats.
So this is true. Adam does sell. I already know this question. Adam does sell oil by the quart. You can buy it at the rallies. And or you can buy it by the case. And
quarts, gallons, cases are full service.
Yeah. Or you can buy it off his website.
Yeah. And I think he can even send you oil like with the filter and all that stuff already in it.
Yeah, we've got complete oil change kits for the do-it-yourselfers out there.
So you can pick stuff up. Adam's going to recommend his Lithium brand. So your brand is?
I carry the Banshee battery brand.
How long have they been in business?
That's a good question. I don't know the actual answer to that.
So where are they American-made batteries?
Yeah, they're American-made. They're an American company. I don't know that the batteries themselves are made here.
I think a lot of what I've been told, like from Battleborn and stuff, we talked to them when we were doing it. Most batteries, because of the lead, is not made in the United States. The lead comes over, and sometimes the cases and stuff like that are what does. But I think the real key is that you want to make sure the person you're buying it for, the company you're buying it from, is in the United States. To where if you've got a battery that the manufacturer's over in China and your battery goes bad, you got to wait for them to get you a battery. Yeah. So that would be the downfall of it's like buying anything. You always want to make sure, and that's why we do the shout outs with all the vendors we have. Mm-hmm. You just want to make sure you buy something from somebody that is a reputable business. Yeah. And I understand if you were like me, if I bought a battery and it went dead and I bought it from Adam, we could talk about it and we would work something out to get the battery to me in a quick time. And everybody that pretty much that we work with all has a pretty good policy when it comes to, but if you're typically in a major city, shouldn't be too much trouble to find a battery. I don't know if any of the like J&P Cycles, I don't know what kind of batteries they sell. I don't even know what they sell.
Yeah, they sell quite a few different brands, but that customer service actually goes way further than just you and I. Like I said, Banshee Battery is really big on customer service. And in fact, they don't want me handling any of the warranty stuff unless it's at a rally. I mean, if you come to me and say, hey, my battery failed, we're going to take care of it. No questions asked. But the trouble with what we do is that, we pack up and we head to another town. And if you're local to where you bought it, you're not going to be able to get it to me if I'm out in Sturgis and you bought it in Ocean City, right? Yeah. So Banshee Battery, they handle all of that. You contact them, they'll send you the new battery. They'll give you the shipping label to get the old one back. No questions asked. They're a really good at that customer service. And I'll be honest, that's one of the main reasons I deal with them. One, because I've got the ability to sit down and talk to the owner. In fact, the owner of Banshee Batteries lives right there in Edgewater, right by New Smyrna. So he's actually there in our tent with us when we're working the Daytona rally.
That's right. We did meet him.
Yeah, he came out and worked Panama City with us too. And the thing is, there's some companies you can't get that kind of service. I mean, I'm not paying him to come out there. He's not paying me. It's just, hey, we're here. Why don't you come hang out? And, maybe I can learn more about batteries from you because he obviously knows more than I do. He's the manufacturer, So, but like I said, they're just really good on that customer service. And their lead acid batteries are just absolutely bulletproof, higher lead content than most of the competitors out there. And you can tell that in the cranking amps. A good example, the battery that came from Harley in your motorcycle, I think put out 385 cranking amps. Their direct replacements at 500 cranking amps. It's just a more dense, more powerful battery with a better warranty. And just stuff like that, you can't go wrong with.
So somebody wants to know, we talked about you would be willing to give out prices. So at a rally, let's say Daytona, if I need to get all my oils changed and a new filter, what's your going rate for this rally?
We charge $199 plus tax at the rallies, at least until further notice.
Yeah. So that's a good price. And because you pretty much go, plus he can pretty much get you in and out. And even now you can contact Adam and set appointments up if you're already going to be at any of the rallies.
Yeah,
you know,
we take appointments
up, and you know, if you want to be the first one in and out, and we do a lot of that. We try to get all of our servicing done on our motorcycle before the rally starts. Most of the vendors are usually there a day or so before and kind of getting in place, getting going. And if everything, the weather's good, you can usually pick up some of these dealers ahead of time. What about a heavier oil for us down south?
Really not necessary. Your engine is designed for 2050 weight oil, and the temperature range that oil is functioning in is more than sufficient regardless. I know some people have this idea that they need to go with a 60 weight oil if it's hot out, and believe it or not, that'll actually make your bike run hotter in most cases, and it just isn't necessary. I've actually had this conversation with the Amsoil tech department multiple times, and unfortunately that's just like internet jabber that people talk about and other people believe it. So then there's this whole segment of people out there that are doing it when there's zero logic to it whatsoever. You're not going to hurt it, but you're not really doing any good either. Just the engine is designed for 2050 specification.
So Ken was just thinking, he just wondered how much oil they used during the Sturgis rally. How much? You probably couldn't even guess, because first of all, you'd have to figure out how many people are actually doing oil changes. And you know, I don't know if Harley.
Well, if you use what you used over 300 gallon or 300.
Yeah, and I'm talking about just the 2050. I'm not counting the primary oil, the diesel oils. I mean, we sell a lot of stuff at the rallies still too.
So it's
a lot.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm actually unofficially, I cannot confirm this, and I'm not supposed to know this, but there was an interview, like a phone interview that Amsoil had done with me a number of years ago, and the person slipped, and they led me to believe that I am in the top 3 sellers of the 2050 motorcycle oil in the entire company. And keep in mind, there are thousands of us dealers out there. And since that time,
for that.
yeah, and since that time, I've actually almost tripled my use.
Wow.
So assuming that the others haven't, I'm probably the number 1 seller. Like I said, I can't confirm that, but I buy more oil than anybody else I know.
That's good. Which it is. It'd be really hard to figure out, because first you'd have to figure out, you know, because there's probably some people doing oil changes. They're not doing very many. They might be selling more tires or doing something like that.
Yeah.
To where, you know, and there's also, like in Daytona, is there 2 more Amsoil dealers or just 1 that's there?
Daytona, there's only 1 other one that's doing oil changes. That's Andre and Harry. People
and then so in some places there could be
them.
more. Plus you've got the dealer doing oil changes, and you've got a lot of other trucks out there doing oil changes too.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of them that's not their bread and butter is oil changes. So you don't know.
Correct.
It'd be really hard to figure out how much oil actually was used during that time.
And see, and I started with the oil changes before I sold love jugs, before I sold batteries. It was just oil. That's all we did. And that's where we built a lot of our clientele. I mean, keep in mind, we're almost 15 years into it, and we just grown and grown and grown because we're offering people better customer service and a fair price on a number 1 top quality product. So it's worked. I mean, I'm selling myself as much as I'm selling the oil, but it's because I actually care about my customers and I want to give them a deal without sacrificing quality. And that's why I've priced it the way I do. Yeah, I could charge more for it and probably still sell it, but I like where I'm happy. I'm making a decent living. I mean, I'm not rich by any means, but my business model is working and the customers are still happy. So I'm just going to continue the way I'm doing it. I'm going to have to raise prices at some point because everything's going up, but I'm going to hold out as long as I can before I do.
Yeah. And it's just like us. We pick who we promote, and Adam doesn't pay us anything. And that's what we do. We try to find people that do good work, stand behind their work, stand behind their products. And Adam is somebody that's like that. Yeah. Here's a guy talking about, I guess, one of the new 2022s. He doesn't like the new fairing on the lowrider. I was very dissatisfied with the video that Harley put out today. Didn't really show crap on bikes. It was more about them talking about what they're going to do and showing bikes riding. Now this weekend we've got a couple things we'll talk about at the end, but most of you already know we're heading to Vegas and we're going to get a debut of the most new motorcycles in Nevada. And we'll be showing a lot of close-ups of that and stuff like that. We'll do it live on Saturday. I don't know if I'll get a good video done before that to put out and show, but definitely next week we'll have some good videos showing you the bikes up close. We're going to have the general manager is going to go through all the bikes and tell us what's good, what's bad, so that we'll see a little bit more about the bikes and we can see how that all works. And coming up in the shows, probably in Daytona, we might get to ride some of the new bikes.
Yep.
So Ratving thinks it's an awesome show.
What's for dinner?
Yeah, Adam probably already ate dinner. We didn't eat no dinner.
No.
She's trying to
No,
pawn.
I haven't eaten dinner yet.
No,
Oh,
she's
yeah,
trying to pawn hot dogs off
It's
on me.
hot dogs or peanut butter.
So
Well, we're leaving to go out of town. I said we need to go to the
we're trying to
grocery
lose
store.
weight, and so we're only eating twice a day. And normally we eat right in the middle of the show.
We
And
eat around 6.
yeah. So Craig appreciates you coming on the show today,
And he appreciates all your videos.
yeah. And Adam does pretty good, and we've had Adam on before. And this is kind of the first one we had this year. We talked about it. We were going to do more of this here in January, but so far,
Ran out of
well, it
time.
came up with batteries, and the first person I thought of was Adam coming and talking to us about batteries because I knew he sold batteries. So it's past 8 here, pouring rain,
That's
Florida.
fun.
Love your lives. I'm learning a lot. Trying to share so much. Really is real good about bikes. Absolutely love how much you guys are sharing tonight.
Thanks.
So does anybody else have any questions on the batteries?
Let me look and see what we got.
I got one if nobody else does. When you
well,
were
you-
saying that you could only, like, let's say you stopped and you were stopped for an hour and you ran your radio without your motorcycle on, that it would drain the battery down so much.
Mm-hmm.
So how do these guys do it? Do they have 2 batteries that run their, you go to a show or a rally and all day long on this one corner, there's 10 guys and they're all running their radios full blast all day long. So how do they jump on their bikes and go home?
Yeah, well, a lot of them don't, believe it or not. I can't tell you how many of those guys I've had to jump start or push start or charge their batteries for them because they just don't think about that. In some cases with those high output stereo systems, and I'm not saying this is the right way to do it because I actually disagree, but some of them I've seen the guys where they line the bottom of the bags of batteries, or one whole bag will be like a car battery in there to give them that extra runtime.
Mm.
But right now, actually, the big shift in the audio industry is people are going to the lithium batteries because they can still operate down to that 20% discharge rate and still put out the same voltage. So they're on a lead acid battery. As they discharge, your voltage actually begins to drop, and that will actually affect the performance of the stereo, so to speak, as well. And I'm sure you guys have seen it back in the days or whatever, where a car or motorcycle, when the stereo is really loud, you see the lights dim, like at the bass beats, whatever. And that's because that battery is only capable of putting out so much power, and then that frequency of music draws so much power for the amplifier power that something has to starve. And with lithiums, that's less likely to happen because they can actually produce a more linear power curve, and it works better. So lithium is a really, really big game changer in the audio industry right now.
Okay.
So we have a question, which I already know this anyway. Just want to make sure you're going to go to Sturgis this year.
Well, absolutely, unless I'm not able to, which I hope doesn't happen. But
So
that's one of my favorite rallies. I'll never miss that.
Which it
one.
is.
Are you going to be able to set up for pre-rally though?
We don't do the full pre-rally like they do over at the Harley dealer, just because our lot isn't available. But I'm usually set up at least a few days early, not the whole previous week.
Okay.
I'll usually set up the Monday before the official rally date starts, and I might be open on Tuesday.
Okay.
So here's a question, which I already probably know. This person's wondering if Amsoil oil will meet or exceed the SRT specific, like Pennzoil oil, their full synthetic 040 weight for the health.
I don't know what the exact specification for that is. On top of my head, I wasn't prepared for this question, but I would imagine that it would. Amsoil isn't going to make an oil for an application that doesn't at least meet or exceed the designation that's there. That's simple to find out, though. You just go to the Amsoil website and look up. You just put in the car, the year, make, and model, and the engine, and it will give you the specification or the product code for what Amsoil recommends to use that.
So here's a question which I could probably answer. Person wants to know if he got a Banshee battery from you and brought his own oil in, and would the dealership do that? Some will not, some will, but in the long run, they're probably going to charge you way more than they normally would because they're not making anything on the parts. So you would just have to see
Correct.
what they say. You're almost better at that point to try to find an independent shop, which would be probably more likely to do it for you. Because I know even my son-in-law takes his car and he likes to bring his own oil in, and the dealer kind of squawks every time he does it because that's one more way they're making money.
Yeah.
So we're kind of skipping around in the questions, try to get Adam so he doesn't have to stay on so long tonight.
Well, I don't mind. I got nothing else to do. So, you know, back on batteries, and there's something I was thinking about doing because you've got people on here who will ask this question to the viewers. I mentioned earlier that I watch some of these solar channels, and there's one particular guy that I watch that what he does is he actually disassembles the lithium batteries from these different manufacturers and kind of does a whole review on, you know, whether they're put together with quality or if they're put together with crap and so on and so forth. And I actually have a couple of, you know, the old batteries, you know, laying around. Would anybody be interested if I did a video like that where I actually cut the battery open and basically show you the anatomy of the battery and so on and so forth?
I would think people would be interested, and they can put some comments down here.
Yeah.
Somebody, I don't know if they want to be
Yes,
if they want to be a new dealer for you, but somebody wanted to know if you're a direct jobber for Amsoil.
Yes, I am a direct jobber.
So if you want to become a dealer, you can contact Adam at another time, and he will set you up to be a dealer.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people don't understand, you know, Amsoil isn't just an oil company, but they are a multi-level marketing company. So basically, as a dealer, it's my job to recruit and train other dealers as well. And there's actually a benefit to that. And you can make good money if you find that right niche market and you're willing to put forth the effort. It could be a good additional income stream.
So Radfing's giving away, I think we've talked to him way too much. He's giving away where we're going this weekend. Besides, we found this at the last minute from one of our, actually, who's putting on the
Bike Builders Breakfast in Daytona.
Yep.
Marilyn Steep.
Yep. And we've known her from Sturgis and everything. And she called us and told us about that they're having this bike show. And it's not really a bike show, it's an auction. And we got credentials to go to that. So I don't know if we'll be able to do a live from there. We can't show the bikes going down the way, but it's supposed to be a lot of vintage bikes. So they pretty much give me permission. And it looks like when I looked on YouTube, I don't see any YouTubers that have been on there. It's mostly been them and Car and Driver Magazine or something like that's been filming their stuff. So that's something that I don't know if we'll do a live because we already got the Saturday set up. So Thursday and Friday, tomorrow and Friday, we're going to be at the auction in Vegas looking at the bike auction that they've got. So that'll be pretty exciting, something new. And Radfing's giving away my secrets. And so we want to give Ken another thank you. He wants to keep my Buc-ee's cup filled up for refills.
Everybody really wanted to know what your beef with Buc-ee's is.
Yeah, and we ain't going to tell that till we pull up the Buc-ee's.
Mine matches Tam's.
Yeah.
Yep, we got the same one. Cheers.
That looks like another bot there. Thanks, Amsoil. Outstanding video. Let's see if there's anything else on. To see you again this year in Daytona. We will definitely be there.
Pour concrete short loads.
Yeah. Name of that premium battery with that outstanding warranty. Say your name of your batteries again.
Banshee battery. So you'll know them because here we go. The lead acid ones are the bright red. So it's pretty easy to stand out. And those are the ones with a 4-year warranty. The lithium batteries will come with a 2-year warranty, but they got a much higher output and super lightweight.
And then how do you spell it? It's Banshee?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Because somebody else wrote
those are on my website, which is extremebikes.com. They got to spell that with an X-TREME bikes.com.
Right.
So she's wanting to know if she had a Nacelli headlight on her bike on her O2 Deuce, and she wanted to know, it kept burning out all the time. She wanted to know if that had anything to do with the battery.
Probably not. Now, if you have a regulator rectifier that is not regulating properly and allowing higher voltage to come through the system, it could burn out the light, but it's not likely from the battery itself.
Are you going to go to the one in Vegas?
Well, I doubt it. They have them all over the United States.
Oh, do they? Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, it's just that's not the only place they have it.
Oh, all right.
Sure, any technical videos that Adam put on would be interesting and educational. So
yeah, if you cut it up, Tom said he'd be interested in watching that.
Okay, cool. I know some people like stuff like that and some people don't. You know, I've got a large portion of, you know, my subscribers that just want to see the motorcycles and the bartenders, you know.
Yeah.
They don't care about all the projects they do around here.
Well, I think we do really good on our tech talks, even when we talked to you before. Even though we didn't have very good internet that one time in Sturgis with you.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, that time in Sturgis too, we were so busy, it was hard for me to,
Yeah.
I mean, I got there for like 2 minutes and I got called away, so.
So it's all depends on, you know, it also depends on the people come on. We've had a pretty good crowd tonight. Most of the night's been around 100. We're kind of coming down to about 88 now.
We've been on an hour and a half.
So not too bad. Pretty good evening for talking to this. If anybody's got any last questions before we kind of wrap it up tonight, we were just going to kind of keep it to just talking about batteries and stuff. He goes to the one in Kissimmee. And well, this one was pretty much longer too. What ended up happening was one of our subscribers last night actually said he had a ticket that he could get us in. And I thought, okay, if I go, I wanted to know, can I bring a camera in the place or not?
Because it doesn't do us any good to go if you can't film.
And so I thought, well, when I started looking through it, there was a place to fill out for media, and they said you had to give a 2-week notice. And I thought, probably ain't going to hear nobody, but the phone rang this morning and the lady talked to me. And she almost sounded like she was going to blow me off. And then she ended up saying, yeah, here's the rules that you can't film, but here's all the stuff you can do. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. So we'll see how it all turns out. And we'll see how many of you guys want to watch and see what's going on.
I doubt it. We're going to buy any bikes at the
probably auction. Not. It's like a high-end auction. It's kind of like the Barrett's one. Is that what I'm going to say?
So.
And I don't know. I've never heard of this auction before. I think she was kind of hurt about that I think they've been in business for over 30 years, and they bought another auction out that did motorcycles. So I'm hoping for a lot of really old vintage bikes. That's what I'm hoping for. And if we can talk to some of the people, they said we can talk to people if they want to go on camera. We just have to stay away from the actual auction going through because they're already going to be filming all that. I think they do it live. People can bid on it. So we can't get near that, which that's fine. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time there tomorrow and a little bit of time on Friday. And actually, it's pretty neat. If you guys are anywhere near Vegas, you might want to check this out. Actually, at the Piston, what is it called?
Flying Pistons.
What is it? Flying Pistons Motorcycle Club. They have an organization, and that's where they always have. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's builder. They always have the builder breakfast. They have one in Daytona, and they also have one in Sturgis. And you meet all these people. We talked about that last night on the channel. But what they did is these little bikes. I don't know what they call them. It's the bikes that the little kids have that don't have any pedals on them. And they gave them all a brand new bike, plain Jane, and they told them to customize it like they would.
Like a motorcycle.
Yeah. So some of them are really neat looking. They made choppers out of them. And some of you go back to the video in Daytona, that was the best one. They didn't have as many of them. They only had a couple of them in Daytona last year. But
in Sturgis.
Yeah, in Sturgis. So they're going to auction those off sometime tomorrow. She's picked.
Thursday.
She's thinking it's tomorrow. It's Thursday. Remember?
Yes.
Okay. Huh? Tomorrow's Thursday, and so we're going to try to get to Vegas early and go in there and check it out and see.
Her numbers are like 2:47, so she's hoping it's going to be early afternoon.
So we don't know. Some awesome bike show.
They wanted to know about the sampling, oil sampling.
Does Adam recommend oil sampling? I don't know, what is that?
And I do, especially in long-term extended drain interval applications such as over-the-road trucking, farm equipment, stuff like that. You're not going to see a lot of people with motorcycles doing it or just regular passenger cars because it's too easy and too cheap to just change the oil. But oil sampling is a very good way to know what's going on inside the engine. The different metals that the oil will pick up can lead you, will give you a warning when you've got stuff like bearings that are going to fail or so on and so forth. Determining, the different types of metal that are in the oil can give you an idea what's going on. So when you're doing the longer term stuff, it's really important to monitor because even though oil is good for a certain period of time, the manufacturer can't calculate a contamination that got in there. So Amsoil can easily say that, in a semi truck, you can run 60,000 miles instead of 15,000 miles on this oil. But that's assuming that everything is running perfect. But they're not going to know if somebody contaminated with something or if you got a leaky head gasket and water gets in there or something. So taking that sample and having it tested can be very vital in that long-term use. We've got guys in semi-trucks with the bypass systems on them that literally have gone over 200,000 miles without actually draining and changing their oil. But every 40 or 50,000 miles, they're taking a sample and sending it in to be tested to make sure that everything is still up to par. And that's a huge savings. It costs like $35 to do an oil sample, where it costs hundreds of dollars to do an oil change on a big rig that holds anywhere from 10 to 15 gallons of oil.
All right.
So
Somebody
is that your website there?
Yes.
Okay. So somebody asked that question, what your website was. I'm just trying to look through here. Salute to the guys. I'll click on a few.
We'll be there in Daytona. Oh,
think.
somebody wanted to know how much lighter a lithium battery was versus, I guess, a lead acid.
Okay, so again, we'll use the Harley touring bike as an example, which uses a 30 amp hour battery. The average battery that goes in a Harley is about 25 pounds in a touring bike. The lithium version from Banshee is only 7.2 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going by memory, but it's considerably lighter. And keep in mind, it puts out almost double the actual capacity, and it's 600 cranking amps instead of like 350, 380. So, you know, the lightweight is only part of it. Just amazing how much density they can add in there.
Strider bikes. Yeah, that's what it is, with no pedals.
That's probably where they bought them all at.
Yeah.
They probably bought them in.
You can lift it with 2 fingers.
There's a big difference. It almost feels like those the ones that they put in the tray for demos. You know,
like there's nothing in it.
Lithium battery. So we're caught up on our comments. Oops.
Does anybody have any more questions before we wrap everything up?
So we've got a few things. We'll just make a quick announcement. You already know now we're going to that auction the next 2 days. We've also got all the videos that's going to be coming out on Vegas. We're going to be live on Saturday.
For the new bikes?
I haven't made a thumbnail up for that yet. We're probably guessing 11 o'clock we'll probably go live, which would be Pacific time. So you can all back up. If you're in Alaska, it'll be 10 and it's Alaska's an hour earlier. And then it's all later that going across the United States. So
too crazy.
Okay, so
we got them all.
Hey, one thing I want to mention too about the batteries that I've noticed, and it's a trickery thing, and I think most consumers wouldn't notice it. So if you Google Harley Davidson lithium batteries right now, it's going to bring you to a Harley Davidson website, and it's going to show the 3 different sizes of Harley Davidson batteries in lithium. Take note, like Bob, like I said, for your bike, my bike, all the touring bikes use a 30 amp hour lithium battery. The battery that Harley is selling you to fit in that place is an 8 amp hour battery. It's the same size physically, the outer housing is, but they're actually putting less battery inside it, and they're charging you the same, if not more, than what a Banshee would cost you. And you're actually not getting a true 30 amp hour battery. Because the lithium can put out more power, an 8 amp hour battery will start your bike. But if you were to try to run it down or let it sit longer, you may not have that reserve there. So that's the tricky when you deal with Harley Davidson and the branding. Yeah, it's got the Harley logo on it, but you're really not getting as much battery as you think you're getting, even though it's the same size package. So just be careful of that. A lot of trickery there.
Oh yeah,
Harley's good.
So you go to the grocery store, you can see that now.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Everything's getting smaller packages and putting less product in it, and they're charging the same amount of money. And it's like a box of cereal now is about this big, where it used to be
$5.
Yeah. So
do your due diligence, do your research and your homework, and
that's one of the reasons we try to give you good content to educate everybody and let you know. I'm not a battery expert either, and that's kind of why we had Adam come on, because I've been looking into lithium batteries, but I can't really answer a lot of technical questions. But I know the big thing with a lithium battery is it should last you a lot longer. And if you do let it go way down, you can bring it back to life, where an acid base battery, you're not going to do that. It's going to just shorten its life. So that's some of the things that,
pretty bad.
Yeah. So at that, I guess we're going to wrap it up here for tonight.
Yeah, I guess so. So everybody check out, bring up click that again.
Yeah.
So there's Adam's website. If you want to email him, it's the same thing, Extreme Bikes, but it's at hotmail.com. So extremebikes.com is his website, or extremebikes.hotmail.com. Yes.
Sounds great. Guys, I really appreciate you letting me come on. It was a lot of fun.
No problem.
Good seeing you, and we'll see you soon in Daytona.
Yeah.
All right,
we're leaving already on the 11th. We're heading already down there.
Yeah. I got a lot to do to get ready, so
yeah.
A short period of time. I got so much
work.
It
sneaks up on you, don't it? We thought you had a couple months, and all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah, well, I know not everybody knows, but we had the COVID go through the house, so Things have been pretty rough here, and definitely have not achieved but a
Everything
quarter
we
of the
wanted to
goals
do.
that I wanted to get done this winter while we were off. But it's okay. We'll get back to it.
Well, I'm glad you guys are all getting better and healthy. And
Yeah.
prayers for Katie. She gets strong and gets back up on her feet there.
Yep.
All right, we will see you later, Adam.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All righty, thanks.
Okay, so we're back. Let me take his. Let's just go back to that.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank everybody for hanging out here with us tonight. Like I say, we got another live coming up on Saturday. We'll have our regular live next week on Wednesday. We're going to be meeting with Larry. That's with the, I want to say Bug Slide, but it's not. With the Bullhead
Larry.
River Run, which is going to be coming up. I think we're going to get some of his girls and some motorcycles. We're going to do some videos on that maybe Sunday, which won't come up on Sunday, but come up next week. We also got the new slip-ons I'm going to be showing you here real soon. And then the factory tour that we both did. And Art came along with us. Yep. And so we're going to show you that. And it's all American made. I was overly impressed. I bought products from this company before, but didn't ever really know a whole lot about what they did. And I didn't know everything about it. So we got some really good information. That'll be coming out. My plan is that video will come out next week. I'll get the mufflers put on, the slip-ons on, and we'll let you guys hear them.
Got a lot to do in 11 days.
Plenty of time. It won't take me a couple hours. Maybe it should really take me about an hour to put the stupid mufflers on. They had took them off to put the S&S pipes on before, so so that shouldn't take me too long to put those on.
Slip-ons, not slippers.
I said slip-on.
You said you got new slippers?
Yeah. Can't get my foot up that high. I don't wear slippers. Don't own a house coat and I don't have any slippers. So we got a lot of neat stuff coming on. What we're thinking about doing as we go to Daytona is we're thinking about showing you guys our route and how we go every day. I don't know if it'll be a live. It might just be a quick video come up at the end of the day, or we might do a quick live. I don't know what we'll do yet, versus putting up just a bunch of videos of highlights of, Daytona and Sturgis, which we'll have some of those on the way, but depending on what we do.
I don't know if they can win that lithium battery off his iPad because it just went dead.
You probably could.
Yeah, I guess.
Depends on the voltage.
Yep.
Got to get.
I know we were going to do a lot more of that this winter while we were home doing nothing, but
we've been busy.
We have
a lot of things going on. Had that tsunami we were in, so
slip on. They're all worried about your slippers now.
Don't have any slippers. Don't wear any. Don't have any. I think the last time I probably had a pair was when I was about 6 years old. So that tells you they're not around anymore.
I think one time when you were in the hospital, I bought you some.
Oh, did you? I don't remember that. I don't remember being in the hospital.
Up in Chicago. You got the flu and got dehydrated. And he was in there for a day or two getting some fluids.
That's when I used to weigh $1.25.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
He was up for a long time. Anyway, we done?
Yeah.
So thanks for coming along, Dave. We hope you enjoyed this video. We want to thank Adam Amsoil for being on with us and giving us his insight on batteries. So we are all up to date and know what about the batteries. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Think about Patreon. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications. And we'll see you on the next video.
Just want to know how we can be home and have nothing to do. You're right. Because we don't even have time to work on the house. We still got to get the trailer fully loaded up. We want to take all the clothes out from last year and not wear the same shirts that I wore this year again. So we changed that around. We got new shirts. Not this one. This is Pappy Hoyle.
Yeah.
Cut that from Full Throttle. And so put some new clothes in there. I got to put a new easy start up on the air conditioner. The old one went kaput. And they warranty that. I got that done. I got the bike all done. I need to ride the bike a little bit, but our weather hasn't been the greatest here. Probably warmer than a lot of other places. Click the thumbs up button, ring that bell.
Don't forget before you get off.
Appreciate that. And that just shows YouTube that we do count. And it's really been great that our lives have been going crazy.
Adam did right. He did a good job.
Yep. Adam did a good job, and no script or anything else.
You gotta say your thing.
We're at the end now.
You gotta say.
Right. We gotta say "Pating
Nation."
We want to thank all of you. We're hoping the patches are gonna get here. I thought they were coming from California, and I found out today it's on a slow boat
from Connecticut.
And it's going out. It went out New York Harbor, and it's going to come all the way around to California and get here.
They said like 3 weeks. It's supposed to get here on the 12th. we're leaving? The 11th.
Well, they said between the 9th and the 12th. So hopefully they'll be here before we
We'll
leave.
see.
I don't really want
Be
to pay.
praying that we
I
get those patches
Don't
before we
really
leave.
want to pay somebody to overnight them to us there. So we do appreciate all you guys. I'm still worrying about my slippers. And there's a Pating Nation.
I need a patch. There
Yeah,
you go.
but you got to ask when
Hey, are you going to Daytona? You're up there in Atlanta. So I know I think Ken's the one that asked if we were going to go to Angel City.
Yeah, probably not. Let's see everybody on the next one. I liked last year's shirts. You like the one with the round seal on it, or the one that says last year was just the one? See what's wrong with those shirts were? They were like polyester, and they were like in the summertime. I died in those shirts.
They look on the picture. They look like those new breathable shirts, and we thought, oh, cool. And so I ordered 5 or 6. He ordered 5 or 6, and you put those suckers on, and
yeah. No, they didn't come
like
from,
a pig.
The patches aren't coming from China, but hopefully it's supposed to be FedEx, and the FedEx here and where we live sucks. They come
like once a week to Bullhead City.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Hopefully it'll be here. I called. Well, I was on a chat with some company I found, and actually they cost me a lot more than I thought I was going to spend. But that's why we're going to make you ask for them. Don't ask, you don't
There's
get.
A bunch of people asked. You got to ask.
We only have ordered
200.
200 of them. So what I got to really do is look at my Pating Facebook page, which we only have like 140 people. So we really should only have 140 people ask for one, because if you're not on the Pating Nation.
Well, if they don't do Facebook,
well,
a lot of people, they're all our Pating Nation.
Oh, he says he might have a place in Ormond Beach.
All right.
So he's thinking about coming down.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we'll see you down there then, Ken.
If you make it down.
Yep.
And a patch and a shirt. The shirts aren't. She just got some new shirts. New shirts, you can order them right down here. If you're on Facebook, sure. You can order those shirts. We don't have any to give away. Those are ones that
we had to pay for ours too.
I got a couple of hats. I think I'm going to raffle them off. They were 22 something a piece. Holy smokes! And they're pretty neat hats. I had one the other day, and I like them.
Oh.
The grandkids, not that hat.
I know, but did we can show that one again?
Then they want that, and you want him to start. He wants to start making them.
Maybe he can make them.
Yeah.
And he can sell them and make some money.
Bandanas and
yeah. Oh.
And so you can order anything you want down here in the link. Everybody always says that, call it merch or whatever you want to call it, but you can go down here. If you're on your phone, you should be able to find that. If you're on it should be on this video. If you're on YouTube, you should see it. It doesn't show up on Facebook. If you go to our page, we actually had the store listed before.
I might hand it up. Oh, that's Facebook.
And get rid of all the stupid commercials. So if you have it up, it's down here.
See all the bags and stuff?
Yeah, so it starts there. And what you do is you just hit it. Hit it. There you go. And it shows it that, like, there's one of the stickers you could buy. Actually, it's the ones we just printed up. Where'd it go? It just went away. Stupid commercials.
Yeah, there it goes.
And so you can go there, and then there's a place that you can hit to go to the store. And if you go to the beginning of our page, of our regular YouTube page, it will have a link there that you can go to the store. It should be on the left side. If you have trouble finding that, let us know. We can help you out. No, we're not having pizza no more. We had pizza like 4 times this week already.
Well, we babysit the grandkids, so pizza's the easy thing to fix them.
So we'll all see you all on Saturday on our live. We should have a video come out here on Friday, like our normal video. I don't think we'll have anything tomorrow unless we do something live from McCurm. I don't even know how to pronounce this stupid thing.
Mercom,
maybe. I don't know. So with that, we're going to leave you, and we'll see you this weekend.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.